Good day and welcome to this week's edition of It is Chaile Time. I am here in rainy and cozy Durban. I'm busy giving labor law training to a company here over a weekend. So if your company can't attend training during the week, phone me. I do training on weekends also. So what are we talking about today? I'm talking today about the importance of a proper induction program for new employees. You see, when I do labor law training, and this program is about initiating and chairing of discipline hearings, I don't only deal with the structure and the formalities and the processes of the hearing itself. I deal with the theory of dismissal law, but I go even one step back and I talk about the importance of the employment relationship. You know, when people come to consult me about a CCMA case or whatever the case may be, whether you're an employer or whether you're an employee, it always emanates from something that went wrong in this relationship. Now, I am surprised actually, and quite saddened to be quite honest with you, that as an employer, for instance, we can often value assets in a company like a motor vehicle. We know how to maintain it, okay? We know we need to get new tires from time to time, we need to wash the car, we need to oil it, we need to fuel it, and we do need to do a maintenance, you know, from time to time in order to maintain the upkeep of this vehicle. Also other assets like a laptop, for instance, we need to have an antivirus program on it. And it's quite interesting, if you think about this, a laptop don't need water. So if I'm going to put and feed my laptop with water, I'm going to damage it. But a human, for instance, humans need water. But what's quite interesting is how often employers, and now I'm not only talking about shareholders, I'm even talking about you as a manager, you as an HR manager, you as a supervisor. Are you mindful of this species, the human being, which is probably the most important asset you have? Because the problem is, we are often not actually mindful of how do I maintain this human being. You know that a human being, where if you're a man, you probably have a wife, kids. A wife also, she's got a husband, she has children. You know, humans know we get sick, you know, we get ill, we don't feel well. We need to feel that we're important, we are valued. We need to feel that we are getting ahead in life. We have an ambition, we get hungry. But it's interesting how often humans or owners and managers are not mindful of this element, of this asset. So when it comes to the relationship, yes, we're talking about employees and we're telling them, you know, employers who they are. We're talking about, you know, just having an understanding of the person in the other seat. You know, your employer, for instance, they spend a lot of money in getting the company up and running. Often they will spend their whole livelihood. They will put the house up as insurance, their vehicles. If the business fails, they lose everything. And often, you know, if a man loses his business, you even lose your wife. Isn't it, ladies? Isn't that true? If your husband is unsuccessful or was a failure in his business, and you lose everything, doesn't he lose you too? Anyway, that is the species we're talking about, employee. That's your manager, that is your owner, that's the shareholder of the business. We're not mindful of that. In the training today, the staff asked me, there were 18 managers, and they asked me, is this fair? What happened is recently, one guy was negligent, he breached a procedure and he didn't meet the deadline. All the managers got a warning for that thing. They asked me, is this reasonable? So before I addressed it, I once again put them in the shoe of their line manager, which is probably some senior manager, the head office somewhere. And I said to him, but listen, probably there's a lot of misconduct happening whereby you guys are failing to meet deadlines. And this guy is getting so frustrated. Now he's issuing warnings to all of you. So before we go to the legal side of things, that is this legitimate or not, let's understand the relationship for a moment quickly. You know, you guys are not doing your work, and now this man is feeling the pressure of your department or his department not performing. But also in terms, and we'll get to the warning a little bit later, but also in terms of employer, who are your employees? You know, employees, as we stated, you know, they have families, they've got feelings, they get ill, they need food, they've got an ambition, they want to get ahead in life, they want to earn a decent income, they want to get promoted, so on and so forth. But there's one element, I actually want to focus on this, the one element of the importance of the induction process. Because I was thinking the other day, you know, I've got 2 dogs. The one is a pit bull and the other one is a staffy. Now, for those of you who don't know, they are historically well known for dog fighting and so forth. But our family, we're a very loving house, so our dogs are normally adorable. But you know, I've always had a terrier in the house. It's either so my first time I've got a pit bull, but I always had staffies. And what's quite interesting is that when this kind of dog is alone in the house and you try to introduce a second dog, oh my goodness, you know, it's hell on earth, eh? I remember a few years ago I had one staffy and I was still stupid, man. I wanted to introduce a second dog, and I got a second male dog in, and you know, it was 5 minutes and my existing dog was almost dead. It was chaos. It was war. You know, those kind of dogs, they don't fight to injure the other party. They fight to kill the other party. And it's an extremely traumatic experience. For those people into dog fighting, there must be something wrong with your head. It is not a pleasant experience. Let me tell you, pit bulls and staffies, these kind of dogs fighting, it is not an enjoyable experience. So here I got this new adult dog in, and it was just blood. And this new dog was about to kill my existing dog, okay? So I had to remove and separate them. And you know what? I was thinking about this. How the heck do you introduce a second dog to the pack, you know? I didn't realize what you do is you take an 8-week-old baby. And I realized these dogs, they love babies. So if you introduce a baby dog, it's fine. Oh man, it's romance. You know, they just love babies. And they are very protective over the babies. And that is how you do it. The same thing with chickens. I had some backyard chickens a few years ago. This is actually my chicken Chaile time for this week. Have you seen, if you introduce an adult chicken into a pack, how it goes? Hey, it's a pecking, hey? There's a pecking order in the chicken family or community. Pick them into submission, you see. But have you ever realized that we as humans, we are exactly the same? There's a pecking order. There's a hierarchy. I've got this other client now. There's only women in the office. And I'm telling you, when there's a new woman starting to work in that office, for a few weeks, I have to counsel that woman. Every week, I have to call that woman one side and ask her, is she okay? Because they are just this backbiting. The ladies, is this typical of women? Because we guys, we are actually quite cool. But ladies, hey, okay, let me discriminate a bit. Sorry, girls. But just in that office now, if there's a new woman, there's alpha woman, and then there's the other woman. And they need to find their own pecking order, you know. And this week, on Tuesday, I was there, yeah. And it's interesting how the one lady, the alpha, and she's not the manager, she's just alpha, you know. She's like the dominant female in the office, and she was asking the other lady if she can help her with a certain task. And this other lady, yeah, don't worry, no problem, I'll come help you now in a moment. Yeah, thank you for asking. And she was so humble, and I just thought to myself, you know, the ladies in the office, they sorted out the pecking order among themselves. And then I'm asking myself, I did a grievance at the company recently. The regional manager for KZN, it is by the way for the company I'm doing IR training for now, and there was a grievance against him. And when I sat and I resolved the grievance, one thing that stood out for me is this manager saying when he came there was no induction, there was no organogram that was explained to him. He was told these people will attend certain meetings and other people will not attend certain meetings. And now the manager underneath him who submitted the grievance against him, his view was when this regional manager joined, suddenly I'm no longer part of certain meetings. It seems like there's an agenda against me. It seems like I'm victimized. And I came to realize, but hold on for a moment. The poor regional manager, he was never actually inducted. Now we think by ourselves, this guy's got qualifications, he's got years of management experience. But we don't realize that humans got a pecking order too. Now, have you asked yourself, what happens when you put a new person in a position? You know, you can maybe have a nice suit and a tie and whatever, but the reality of the matter is, there's some fear here too. He's asking himself, you know, will the others accept me? Are they now going to I want to prove to my bosses they made the right appointment. So therefore, I'm going to make some decisions. But will the others accept me? Are they going to submit grievances? And the new guys, his subordinates, when there's a new boss appointed, you know how it goes there. It's like chickens. They go like this. Who's a new guy? They say a new broom sweeps clean. What's a new guy going to do now? Is he going to fire me? Is he going to make unrealistic demands? Is he going to short pay me? Is he going to remove my benefits? Everybody's like up in arms when there's this new guy. I suppose I'm talking about organizational structure and culture and these kind of things, or organizational engineering. But we really need to be mindful of this. We can't just throw people into a vacancy and think, you must my work, You know how often I see it, and I kid you not, a new person will be employed in a company. They don't even show him or her where the toilet is. You just have to figure this thing out yourself. And then a week later, the boss comes to me and says, this guy is not performing. He's not making it. But the poor soul is trying to figure out who is the boss, because they don't know who's the boss. The poor soul is trying to figure out what he or she is supposed to be doing. The poor soul is trying to fend off him or herself from all the wolves looking on, the rest of the team. So, when it comes to the importance of the relationship, let's put some thought into when we have a vacancy to actually subject a person to a proper induction pack. How often do we give a contract of employment, let the person sign, you take it, you don't even give copies. You don't even ask the person to spend some time, take a day or two and actually go read the contract. And surprisingly, 6 months later, if that person do something wrong in terms of the contract, we very easily discipline or put a person in a hearing for breach of the contract, but the person never actually read the contract. Because what do? We say, yeah, sign, contract, thank you so much, and we put it in the file, we don't even give you a copy. Same with disciplinary codes and code of conduct, sign, because now you got the evidence should you do something wrong, employee. So, the importance of a proper induction process. Explain the policies, explain the code of conduct, explain the disciplinary code, and please, who's who in your zoo? This is the CEO, this is a general manager, this is the executive A and executive B. These are your subordinates. Actually have a meeting and introduce that person to his colleagues, the subordinates, and maybe his line managers and so forth, and explain what's expected. This is also very easily demonstrated when there's like a merger or a takeover. And I've experienced that in my life whereby, for over years you've been accustomed to your management team, your executives and so forth. And one day you get bought out and there's a new team. Oh my goodness. Sure, they will assure you of you getting your salary, the contract, and your continuity of service and so forth. No problem. But yes, there's always this uncomfortable feeling. They'll come in and suddenly you're not good enough, suddenly you're not doing the job right, suddenly they get different ways, and there's this uneasy feeling between you and new management. That's like our dog feel when there's a new dog coming into the pack. It's like, who the heck are you? There's a new chicken coming in, it's like, who are you? If you're a manager or recruitment manager or HR manager or a CEO, if you want to be a bit more successful, just for a moment, the job is not just about the job. It's about getting this team together and work together. Do a proper induction process. Let people know what's going on in terms of the structures, what their responsibilities are. Because now you sit with a situation where our subordinates are judging the new manager is following instructions, and everybody's angry and upset with one another, and nobody actually knows what is going on. So, we as a human species, there's a hierarchy, there's a pecking order. You can't just put a person in a job. You need to mitigate this social engagement here. People need to be made feel comfortable. I'm not here to take your job. I'm not going to lose my job because there's a new person there. Otherwise, we're going to keep on fighting. Now, there's a story now come to my mind somewhere in the Bible, Oh, that's right. It's stated there that a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. But how often, as an employer, we're not mindful of humans, of how to service us. Do a proper induction pack, explain properly who we are in terms of the organizational structure, and to come back to the warnings. I understand the frustration of the executive when people keep on doing things wrong. I get that. But How do you give all the staff, all the managers on a certain level warnings because one guy did something wrong? I know it makes your heart feel better now because now you've taken charge. But now you sit with 20 people who hate you. A kingdom divided against itself. They may not say something because they want to lose their jobs, but in their hearts. Now, I'll rather let somebody work for me because he wants to than having somebody working for me because he must. Ace, man. And I know we all need a job. We all must work. But if you, my senior, try to create a milieu whereby I want to be there. Stop being an asshole, man. No, you don't have to. It's anyway illegal to do that. I mean, obviously the people were not guilty of the offense, okay? And you know what's interesting? You'll give everybody a warning, but you won't put water on a laptop. Strange, eh? Jitter. You're not going to put water into your car. You will never do that because you're going to break the car. But you will do that with the staff. It's weird, eh? You're going to give all of them warnings for one guy that's doing something wrong. Go figure that out, man. What's wrong with you? You know, don't you have basic managerial skills? You won't put water on the laptop, man. But you will do the things that is anti-maintenance to humans. It's weird. No, we need to be mindful of this. It's strange. And there's other areas this is also reflected in. If you look at the contract of employment, how often employers will come to me and say, listen, I need to change the salary of my staff. So I'll send a WhatsApp or an SMS to staff, tomorrow you earn 10% less of your salary. It's like, what happened now to the contract, man? Will you do that to your bank? I'll ask the same employer, when you have a loan at FNB for your business, whatever, are you going to wake up one day and say, bank, I pay you too much, from now on it's 10% less? No, man, this was the contract you're going to say. So what's different with a contract with your staff? There was no contract. You can change it if you consult and if they agree. Any contract can be changed if you agree. But you can't just wake up one day and decide, now we're going to do that. You don't throw water on your laptop. You don't put water in the car. But you will do what you want with staff. It's weird, man. Hey, it doesn't work that way, man. You know, do a proper induction pack. I think we need to have an understanding of human nature. Now, understand, we're not living in a perfect world. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying we can do better. You know, a house divided against itself cannot stand. If you do some basics right, have a proper induction process, KPIs, job descriptions, tell them, go show them, take them by the hand and say, there's the men's toilet and there's the ladies' toilet, you know. Let them know. There's your colleague, you know. Here's the organogram. Here's what's expected from you. If you're a manager and there are certain meetings you need to attend, tell him which meetings he needs to attend and who's part of the meetings. Let them know. Otherwise, we are just operating in this maze of a workplace where, and then this alpha woman came to me one day and says, you know, this person is not performing. When I started here, I had to swim. They throw me in the deep end and I just had to make it work. If I can do it, they can do it. And I'm like, yeah, but it's probably not the right way, man. You know? So no, just some thoughts, you know. When it comes to dismissal law, dispute resolution, it starts with that relationship. And I'm asking myself, how can we do the relationship thing a bit better? And it starts with recruitment. Besides employing the right people, it's also about having an induction process. We explain to people how they fit in this maze of a company. You see, so yeah, look at your human asset and ask yourself, what's your staff's wife's or spouse's name? If they're sick, maybe they're not faking it, maybe they're really sick. You know, if they're hungry, maybe they are. Next time when you think you're not going to give an increase, and I mean, if you can't give increase, then you can't, but if you can give increase, give the increase, man. You know, you're human. Just like your laptop wants to be virus free, your humans needs to make more money because every year inflation goes up and we get hungry, you see. They're going to be happy if you do that, no? Anyway, that is this week's voice. Shout out before I'm losing my mind here. You're just taking it a bit too far. But yeah, be mindful of humans from an asset perspective. Ask yourself, what kind of antivirus program is the best for my laptop? What kind of petrol is the best for my car? And what's the best for my staff? Think about this. I want to challenge you if you're a manager. And yeah, by the way, I'm not talking in principle to shareholders here. Yes, them too. I'm talking about you as a manager, man. You as a supervisor. You as the HR. Think about it. You can't just put somebody there in a job and think, now it's all fine, he's qualified. No. As a species, we have a pecking order. There's a hierarchy. And we, like chickens, we will pick on each other until we have found our place, you see. And if you can engineer this workplace, you know, it makes life easier. and we can have success. So go out there and be successful. See you next week. Bye-bye.